in 2020, there were individuals who crossed illegally into the United States.
These are all on your watch.
And committed crimes.
These are all on your watch.
Is it your position that the prior administration bears responsibility for that?
I'm asking the questions, and these are all on your watch.
Quite an exchange there. Good morning. Welcome back to the show. I'm Rob Finnerty. The Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, testifying on Capitol Hill this week and was asked some very hard but fair questions about the 1.7 million illegal immigrants that have crossed the southern border so far this year that we know about. Joining us now for more is Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn. Senator, good morning. Nice to have you back on.
Yes. It was quite a hearing we had.
Well, it really was. And I wanted to talk about that exchange right there between you and Secretary Mayorkas. He deflected. He referred to border issues under President Trump, which pale in comparison to what's been going on over the last 10 months. And then he actually asked you a question, really unusual. What'd you make of that?
What he was trying to do is avoid answering the questions. We found him to be just a pro at not giving facts and figures or having data that was needed. What he continued to try to do the entire hearing was to deflect. He was very arrogant. He was very ill prepared. And so he was very dismissive of the hearing. And bear in mind, he was to have been before us last month, had COVID, had to cancel the hearing. So we had waited for him to come in for his pre-scheduled oversight hearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee.
Right.
But he didn't want to talk about the fact that numbers are at an all-time high. More illegal aliens came across the southern border in October than any October in our nation's history. And he didn't want to talk about that. He did not want to talk about, they don't know where a lot of these people are. You've got about 250,000 that have been given a notice to appear. You have another group given a notice of removal. But what about the other 1.3 or 4 million people that have come across that border that have been caught and then released?
Yeah, he didn't want to talk about any of that.
They don't seem to have an answer.
Yeah, you're right. His grasp on the facts of what have taken place over the last 10 months, I would say, tenuous at best. But let's say, all right, here we are. We're 11 plus months from the midterms. If Republicans flip the House and maybe even the Senate in 2022, what changes do you make at the border first, day one?
You do exactly what the Border Patrol has said they need to have done, which is number one, build a wall. They have asked for a wall on the southern border for 30 years. Give them the wall. President Trump had been doing that. Second, you increase the technology. President Trump did that. What we hear from local law enforcement and the Border Patrol now is that Mayorkas is removing some of the technology upgrades that they had been enjoying that allowed them to do better surveillance. Number three, more agents and officers there on the border. And number four, more judges to clear the backlog and adjudicate these cases.
Yeah.
You have to put Remain in Mexico in place until those cases are heard.
Or remain in El Salvador or any other Central or South America country where these people are coming from. Quickly, we've got about 30 seconds left, but this number shocked me. A record 100,000 Americans will die of drug overdoses in 2021. That is the most we've ever had in our country's history. Kamala Harris, our border czar, is so concerned with root causes. Don't you think the root cause of that might be all the drugs crossing over our border illegally every single day? Why didn't she look into that?
Absolutely, and because of it, every town's a border town, every state is a border state. And what you see is marijuana laced with fentanyl. You have all of these opioids that are laced with fentanyl, and the meth that's coming across, the heroin that's coming across. People are dying because the drug cartels are pushing these drugs across the border, moving them to their U.S.-based distribution centers in cities all across this country.
It's so tragic.
Americans are dying.
And many of these drugs are coming from China in the first place as well. So you can add 762,000 dead to COVID, another 100,000 to drug overdoses. It's so terrible. Senator, thanks so much for being with us. So good to see you again. Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.